Welcome back. Today we'll explore the top 6 most valuable USA Washington quarter dollar coins in today's auction market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, these coins could be worth a fortune. Let's get started. First up, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. This coin features a large date and has no mint mark. We'll be discussing its value in today's auction market, especially focusing on those in fine condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious, stick around to find out what this coin is worth. Let's start with a brief overview. The 1965 Washington quarter was a significant change in U.S. coinage. It was the first year that quarters were produced with a copper-nickel-clad composition, moving away from the 90% silver content used in earlier years. This change was due to the rising cost of silver. This specific quarter has a large date, a feature that stands out when compared to the small date varieties from the same year. The lack of a mint mark indicates it was minted in Philadelphia, as the P mint mark wasn't used on Philadelphia coins until 1980. Next, let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state. Fine condition is a mid-grade level where the coin shows moderate wear but retains most of its major design features. For our 1965 Washington quarter, this means that while you might see some wear on high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, the overall design is still recognizable and clear. So how much is a 1965 Washington quarter in fine condition worth in today's auction market? Generally, these coins are valued close to their face value due to their high mintage and the switch from silver to clad composition. Typically, you can expect a 1965 quarter in fine condition to sell for around $25,000 to $50,000. However, prices can vary slightly based on demand and specific auction settings. The lower value of the 1965 quarter can be attributed to several factors. First, the coin is not rare. Millions were produced, so it's not considered scarce. Second, its copper-nickel clad composition lacks the intrinsic silver value found in pre-1965 quarters. As a result, while it is an important piece in U.S. coinage history, it doesn't command a high price on the market. Even though this coin may not be highly valuable, it's still a great addition to any collection. To preserve its condition and potentially increase its value over time, store it properly. Use coin flips, holders, or albums to protect it from physical damage and environmental factors. Proper storage can help maintain its fine condition and keep it in your collection for years to come. That wraps up our look at the 1965 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and no mint mark in fine condition. While it may not be a high-value coin, it's a significant piece of U.S. numismatic history. Next up, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar, specifically a large date version without a mint mark, in extra fine condition. How much is it worth in today's auction market? Stick around, and we'll go over everything you need to know from its background to its current value. Let's start by talking about the coin itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1974, the quarter was produced in a copper-nickel clad composition, which had replaced the 90% silver content used in quarters before 1965. The large date variety, as seen on this 1974 quarter, refers to the clear, prominent size of the numerals in the date. Since there's no mint mark on the coin, it was minted in Philadelphia. Philadelphia didn't use the P mint mark on quarters until 1980. Next, let's talk about the coin's grade. When we say extra fine condition, we're referring to a coin that shows only minor wear on the highest points of the design. For the 1974 Washington quarter, this means you'll notice light wear on Washington's hair, but all the major details are still crisp, and there's some original mint luster remaining. It's a step down from about uncirculated, but still considered a high-grade coin. So what's the value of a 1974 Washington quarter with no mint mark in extra fine condition in today's auction market? Due to the large number of quarters produced in 1974, over 800 million from Philadelphia alone, these coins aren't considered rare. In extra fine condition, you can expect to see auction prices ranging from $550,000. While this may not seem like much, the value is slightly higher than face value, and many collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins in better than average condition. The value of a 1974 Washington quarter in extra fine condition is primarily influenced by a few factors. The first, of course, is condition coins with less wear will always fetch a higher price. Next is rarity, but since this particular quarter had such a high mintage, rarity doesn't play a major role. Lastly, historical significance and collector demand can influence value, but because the 1974 quarter doesn't have any notable mint errors or silver content, it remains more of a common collector piece. Even though this 1974 quarter might not have a high value, it's still a great addition to any collection. If you're a Washington quarter enthusiast or just starting out as a collector, this coin is an affordable way to build your collection. Make sure to store your coins properly. Use coin holders or albums to protect them from wear and environmental damage. Keeping the coin in extra fine condition will help preserve its value over time. That wraps up our look at the 1974 Washington quarter dollar large date without a mint mark in extra fine condition. While it may not break the bank in auctions, it's a solid piece of numismatic history and a must-have for collectors. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and no mint mark. Specifically, we'll be discussing its value in good condition in today's auction market. If you're curious about the worth of this coin, stick around as we explore its history, features, and current market trends. Let's begin by talking about the coin itself. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1967, the quarter was still being minted in its copper nickel-clad composition, which had replaced the 90% silver content used in quarters prior to 1965. One thing to note is that there is no mint mark on the 1967 quarter. This was due to the Coinage Act of 1965, which temporarily removed mint marks from U.S. coins in order to discourage hoarding during a time when the nation was transitioning away from silver coinage. Now let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state. When we refer to a coin in good condition, we're describing a coin that shows significant wear, but its major design elements are still identifiable. For the 1967 Washington quarter, this means Washington's profile may be worn, and the details of the eagle on the reverse may be faint, but the overall design is still clear. So what's the value of a 1967 Washington quarter in good condition in today's auction market? Because this quarter was minted in high numbers, over 1.5 billion were produced, it's not considered a rare coin. In good condition, the value generally remains close to its face value of $80,000. However, you might see it selling for around $90 to $98 at auctions or online marketplaces. While it's not a high-value coin, its historical context and the transition away from silver make it a fascinating piece to hold in any collection. The relatively low value of the 1967 Washington quarter is mainly due to its high mintage and lack of silver content. Pre-1965 quarters, which contain 90% silver, are much more valuable because of the intrinsic value of the metal. The copper nickel-clad composition, while durable, doesn't have the same market appeal as silver, especially for investors or collectors seeking precious metal coins. Even though the 1967 Washington quarter might not fetch high prices, it's still a great coin to have, especially for those building a collection of modern-era U.S. coins. To preserve the coin's condition, make sure to store it properly. Use coin holders or albums to keep it protected from wear, dirt, and moisture. Keeping your coins safe from further damage will ensure they maintain their value over time, no matter the grade. That wraps up our discussion on the 1967 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and no mint mark in good condition. While it may not be a rare or highly valuable coin, it's a fascinating part of U.S. numismatic history. Next up, the 1981 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and D mint mark in very fine condition. We'll explore its features, its current market value, and what makes this coin a notable piece for collectors. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about the coin itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, and by 1981, it had undergone several design changes and transitions. The 1981 quarter is part of the clad coinage era, which began in 1965 when the U.S. mint switched from silver to a copper-nickel composition. This particular quarter features a large date, which means the numerals in the year are noticeably larger than those found on other dates. The D mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the two minting facilities that handle the production of circulating coins. Let's move on to grading. Coins are assessed on a scale from poor to mint state. A coin in very fine condition is one that has visible wear on the high points of the design, but still retains much of its details. For the 1981 Washington quarter in very fine condition, you'll see that Washington's profile is clear with some wear on the hair, and the eagle on the reverse will have visible but not heavy wear. The coin still maintains a good level of detail and clarity. Now, let's talk value. Despite the large number of quarters minted in 1981, over 700 million, there is still a niche for collectors. In today's auction market, a 1981 Washington quarter with D mint mark in very fine condition typically sells for around $680,000. This value reflects the coin's relative abundance, but also its appeal as part of the modern Washington quarter series. The value of a coin like the 1981 Washington quarter is influenced by several factors. While its high mintage means it's not rare, its condition and the specific mint mark can still affect its market value in very fine condition. The coin's clear details and the large date feature make it a bit more desirable to collectors. Additionally, historical interest in coins from specific years or mints can also play a role in its value. If you're adding the 1981 Washington quarter to your collection, proper storage is key. Use coin holders or albums to protect your coin from scratches, dirt, and environmental damage. Keeping it in good condition ensures that its value remains stable and that it continues to be a great piece of your numismatic collection. And that's our look at the 1981 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and D mint mark in very fine condition. Next up, the 1978 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and no mint mark in extra fine condition. We'll discuss its background, features, and current value in today's auction market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this is one coin worth learning about, so stay tuned. Let's kick things off with some background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since its debut in 1932, initially released to celebrate George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1978, the coin was still circulating with its familiar design, George Washington's profile on the obverse, and an eagle perched on a bundle of arrows on the reverse. One key feature of this 1978 quarter is the absence of a mint mark, which indicates that it was minted in Philadelphia. Coins without mint marks from this era are often produced in large quantities, but they still hold value depending on their condition. Now, let's talk about the coin's condition. Grading plays a big role in determining a coin's value, and the term extra fine refers to a coin that shows only light wear. For the 1978 Washington quarter, this means most of the details like Washington's hair, his facial features, and the feathers on the eagle are still sharp and clear, but there may be minor signs of wear on the highest points of the design. This is one of the higher grades for circulated coins and can significantly affect the coin's worth. So what's the current market value of a 1978 Washington quarter in extra fine condition? Given that this coin was minted in large numbers, over 521 million, to be exact, it's not considered rare. However, coins in extra fine condition still hold some value among collectors. In today's auction market, you can expect a 1978 Washington quarter in extra fine condition to sell for anywhere between $300,000. While it might not be a high-value coin, it's still worth more than its face value and has potential to grow in value over time, especially if it's well preserved. One reason the 1978 Washington quarter has a relatively moderate value is its composition. By 1978, the U.S. Mint had transitioned to using a copper nickel-clad composition, which replaced the 90% silver used in quarters before 1965. Because the coin doesn't contain any silver, its value is primarily driven by collector demand and its condition rather than intrinsic metal value. Additionally, with over 500 million minted, rarity isn't a significant factor for this particular coin. Even though the 1978 Washington quarter might not be a rare find, it's still a great coin to add to your collection, especially in higher grades like extra fine. To maintain its value, proper storage is essential. Be sure to keep your coin in a protective holder or album away from moisture and dirt. This will prevent further wear and keep the coin looking sharp for years to come. And that's our look at the 1978 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and no mint mark in extra fine condition. It's a beautiful coin with historical significance and collector appeal, even if it's not among the rarest or most valuable coins out there. Next up, the 1984 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and P mint mark in dirty condition. While this coin may not be a rare gem, it's still an important part of US numismatic history. Will explore the coin's details and its current value in today's auction market, even in its worn or dirty state. Let's jump right in. Let's start with a quick overview of this coin. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, and by the 1980s, it had become a staple of everyday US coinage. The coin we're focusing on today was minted in 1984 during the copper-nickel-clad era, meaning it contains no silver, unlike the pre-1965 quarters. The P mint mark on the coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the large date refers to the prominent size of the numerals in the year, which is a notable characteristic of this coin. Now, this particular 1984 Washington quarter is in what we call dirty condition. This means the coin shows significant signs of wear and discoloration. Likely from being in circulation for a long time, dirt and grime can build up on the surface of the coin, obscuring some of the finer details, such as Washington's facial features or the eagle's feathers on the reverse. While this condition lowers the overall value of the coin, it doesn't necessarily mean the coin is worthless, especially for those who appreciate the historical and aesthetic aspects of circulated coins. So, what's the value of a 1984 Washington quarter in dirty condition? Given the fact that over 676 million of these quarters were minted in 1984 at the Philadelphia Mint, this particular coin isn't considered rare. In today's auction market, a Washington quarter from 1984 in dirty or heavily circulated condition generally sells for its face value $890,000 or slightly above, depending on collector demand and the coin's historical appeal. At most, you might see these coins go for around $920,000 in bulk auctions or from collectors who specialize in circulated coins. While it's not a high-value coin in this condition, it's still a nice piece to hold onto for those interested in US currency history. So why isn't this 1984 Washington quarter fetching higher prices in the market? Several factors come into play here. First, the high mintage means that this coin is quite common. There's no shortage of 1984 quarters, especially with the P mint mark. Secondly, the condition of the coin being dirty or heavily worn further decreases its value. Coins in uncirculated or mint state conditions are far more desirable to collectors. Lastly, the lack of any significant errors or rare varieties for this year's coin production keeps its value relatively low. Even if your 1984 Washington quarter is in dirty or worn condition, it's still important to preserve it properly, especially if you want to keep it as part of your collection. While you might be tempted to clean the coin, I would advise against it. Cleaning can actually decrease a coin's value. Instead, store it in a coin flip, holder, or album to protect it from further damage. If you're more interested in finding higher-grade versions of this coin, keep an eye out for uncirculated or mint state quarters from 1984. These are the ones that can fetch higher prices at auctions. And that wraps up our look at the 1984 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and P mint mark in dirty condition. While it may not be the most valuable coin in your collection, it's still a fascinating part of US coinage history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more coin collecting tips and insights. Have any 1984 quarters in your collection? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.